Good evening, America. You're about to listen to me, Sergeant Dave, with the Remember the Fallen podcast on KLRNradio.com. After the survival instincts of an 8-ton rollover accident in the Par-1 province of Afghanistan in 2004, I emerged and returned to the States with an even more enduring tale of perseverance. As I navigate the troubled waters of the VA system, I gain a new perspective and a renaissance that I will share with you with the fever of enthusiasm to all patriots across the windswept fields of America. All right, Remember the Fallen show, where we listen to my guests, jarheads, squids, wingnuts, ground pounders, and an occasional coastie. Maybe not. But most of all, I will be advocating to patriots that get a lump in their throat when they hear the national anthem being played at a ball game. You see, one of us can be run off, two of us can be disregarded, but a show's audience, together we are a movement. All right, we're live in the Never Forgotten Memorial YouTube studio in beautiful Seminole County, USA, on the Winter Springs Oviedo line. And we're going to do something different today because of the rash of shootings against our men in blue. We got to back the blue, okay? So it first started last week with a 2-minute intense ordeal with a 23-year-old Aaron Hong, who charged 2 Athens, Georgia police officers waving a knife. You got to see this. Go to NewYorkPost.com/video/kill-me-knife-wielding-man dies in police shootout. He was being told more than 20 times to drop his knife. He kept moving forward to them. They backed up more than a city block. When they realized they were retreating back into major intersections, they had to stop. And that's when the suspect ran at the one officer. You gotta see this dramatic police body cam footage. So that brings me to the next episode, what happened at New York City just recently, just 3 days ago. So I don't know what's going on with our citizens, why they continue to try to suicide by cop. Well, let's hear this report from the ABC News.
Here in New York City, ambushed in a pair of shootings by the same suspect. The gunman, you see him there, opening fire this morning inside a police precinct in the Bronx. One officer was hit and wounded, police returning fire. That shooter, out on parole for an attempted murder conviction, surrendering only after firing every round in his gun. The assassination attempt followed an earlier attack. That same suspect walking up to a marked police van, allegedly asking for directions, then pulling the trigger. Both officers hit are expected to survive, and tonight police are calling the suspect a coward. ABC Stephanie Ramos is outside that precinct tonight.
Tonight, the chilling video. A gunman calmly walking into the 41st precinct in the Bronx. An officer seen ducking for cover after hearing gunshots. The gunman then running into another room, his weapon drawn. You can see another officer responds to the scene. In the exchange, one lieutenant is shot in the arm. Police say the suspect unloading his entire clip, eventually dropping to the ground. His gun seen thrown across the precinct floor. Officers then move in, swarming the suspect. One officer punching him repeatedly, while more than a dozen race in.
I will point out that this coward immediately laid down, but only after he ran out of bullets.
It was just 12 hours earlier, also in the Bronx, when police say the same man ambushed 2 officers in a police van.
906 shots fired. In the van. That's right here.
Authorities say the suspect asked the officers for directions before shooting one of them in the neck. The gunman then running away. The officer's partner immediately driving to the nearest hospital.
This was an attempt to assassinate police officers. We need to use that word because it was a premeditated effort to kill.
Police say the suspect, Robert Williams, has a lengthy criminal history. He was convicted of attempted murder in 2002 and paroled in 2017. Both officers rushed to the hospital, expected to make a full recovery. Wounded officer Paul Stroffolino released from the hospital to the applause of his fellow officers lining up to pay tribute.
Thank God that each and every one of them will be okay. We have 2 officers injured. They will be okay in the end.
Stephanie Ramos joins us now from the precinct where the second shooting took place. And Stephanie, the other wounded officer also expected to be released from the hospital?
That's exactly right, Tom. Police tell us that second injured officer is expected to be released from the hospital. A huge sigh of relief for this community and the NYPD. But as you can see, still a very active scene here. Police tape up and police standing guard around that precinct. Tom.
Okay, here's another article on MSN News, which is powered by Microsoft News. And I feel it's the premise behind all of these type of shootings in these sanctuary cities. And it starts off with the subtitle, Barr announces sweeping new sanction, significant escalation against left-wing sanctuary cities, charging that the so-called sanctuary cities that protect illegal immigrants are jeopardizing domestic security. Attorney General Bill Barr announced a slew of additional sanctions that he calls significant escalation against left-wing local and state governments that obstruct the lawful functioning of Americans' immigration system. Okay, so we're going to hear his clip, but I want to continue on. Speaking at the National Sheriff's Association 2020 Winter Legislative and Technology Conference in Washington, D.C., Barr said the Justice Department would immediately file multiple lawsuits against sanctuary jurisdictions for unconstitutionally interfering with federal immigration enforcement and implement unprecedented national reviews of left-wing sanctuary governments and prosecutors. Let us state the reality up front and as clearly as possible, Barr began. When we are talking about sanctuary cities, we are talking about policies that are designed to allow criminal aliens to escape. These policies are not about people who came to our country illegally but have otherwise been peaceful and productive members of society. Their express purpose is to shelter aliens from local law enforcement has already arrested for other crimes. This is neither lawful nor sensible. The DOJ has now filed a federal complaint against the state of New Jersey seeking declaratory and injunctive relief against its laws that forbid state and local law enforcement from sharing vital information about criminal aliens with DHS, Domestic Home Security, Barr said. That was a reference to New Jersey Attorney General Law Enforcement Directive 2018-6, which the DOJ says illegally bars officials from sharing the immigration status and release dates of individuals in custody. It also requires New Jersey law enforcement to promptly notify a detained individual in writing in a language the individual can understand. If Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, files an immigration detainer request for the individual. Additionally, we are filing a complaint seeking declaratory and injunctive relief against King County, Washington, for the policy that forbids DHS from deporting aliens from the United States using King County International Airport, Barr said. The lawsuit targets King County Executive Order PFC-7-1-EO, which the DOJ said has dramatically increased operating costs for ICE, as detainees have had to be transported to Yakima, Washington. The executive order unconstitutionally conflicts with the Federal Airline Deregulation Act, which prohibits localities such as King County from enacting or enforcing laws or regulations that relate to prices, routes, or services of air carriers, said the DOJ. Subtitle, New York Attorney General sues DHS over global entry enrollment ban. Further, we are reviewing the practices, policies, and laws of other jurisdictions across the country. This includes assessing whether jurisdictions are complying with our criminal laws, in particular, the criminal statute that prohibits the harboring or shielding of aliens in the United States, Barr added, noting that the DOJ would support DHS with federal subpoenas to access information about criminal aliens in the custody of uncooperative jurisdictions. And Barr said, we are meticulously reviewing the actions of certain district attorneys who have adopted policies of charging foreign nationals with lesser offenses for the express purpose of avoiding the federal immigration consequences of those nationals' criminals' conduct and pursuing their personal ambitions and misguided notions of equal justice. These district attorneys are systematically violating the rule of law and may even be unlawfully discriminating against American citizens. Prosecutors in New York and California have changed their policies so that prosecutors explicitly consider so-called collateral consequences, including deportation, before pursuing certain charges. Sanctuary cities, Barr said, are defined as those with policies that allow criminal aliens to escape federal law enforcement. Why is this? Is it all because these Democratic people in power just want that one vote from this alien? This is insane, right? So it's undermining immigration authorities, with local politicians even developing schemes to circumvent immigration officials. In 2018, Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf blew the whistle on an imminent raid by federal immigrant authorities, tweeting out a warning to illegal immigrants in advance and helping them hide. Once again, a Democratic mayor looking for just a few votes from these thugs. It's insane, okay? As the president did during last week's State of the Union address, the Attorney General cited several instances in which illegal immigrants were able to commit deadly crimes because they were sheltered by left-wing sanctuaries. Read Barr's full marks here, right? In November, ICE filed a detainer for an alien who was arrested for assaulting his own father, Barr said. The local police in New York City that had the alien in custody ignored the detainer. So the alien was released onto the streets. And last month, he allegedly raped and killed 19-year-old Maria Fortes, affectionately known as Abuelita, a fixture of her Queens neighborhood. And in October 2017, DHS identified a convicted criminal alien with 4 prior removals at a city jail in Washington State. Barr continued. DHS filed a detainer. Subsequently, the alien fought with jail staff and was taken to a local medical center for treatment. But after receiving treatment, local officials released the alien in violation of the detainer. Oh, wow, violation. In January 2018, the alien was arrested and booked for murdering and dismembering his cousin. These guys are ruthless. And all for a vote. I don't get it, man. I do not get this. Okay? While the Constitution entrusts the police power to the states and does not require states to affirmatively assist federal authorities in implementing and enforcing immigration law, Barr said, it does clearly prohibit the states from actively interfering with federal immigration officials. The Founding Fathers carefully divided responsibility and power between the federal government and the state governments, Barr said. The Supremacy Clause in Article 6 of the Constitution provides that the Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, shall be the supreme law of the land. He added, this clause is a vital part of our constitutional order. Enforcing a country's immigration laws is an essential function of the national government, and no national government can enforce those laws properly if state and local governments are getting in the way. While federal law does not require that sanctuary jurisdictions actively assist with federal immigration enforcement, it does prohibit them from interfering with our enforcement efforts. Barr emphasized that there is no way to determine how many criminal aliens are in the United States, in part because local policies, although recent estimates under the Obama administration put the number as high as 2 million. 2 million criminal aliens, and you people don't want the wall? Okay, I don't get it, man. Assuming that the estimate was accurate, the numbers are likely even higher today, despite the Trump administration's consistent and concerted efforts to find and depart this criminal population, Barr said. It is the rule of the law that is fundamental to ensuring both freedom and security, Barr asserted, saying law enforcement officers are increasingly under fire in heinous attacks that come against the backdrop of cynicism and disrespect for law enforcement. That's just what happened this past week in the United States. Barr touted the DOJ's lawsuit against California and other states over their sanctuary policies. The suit over California involves the law prohibiting the federal government from conducting operations in its own affiliated private immigration facilities and detention centers. The law, Barr said, was a blatant attempt by the state to prohibit DHS from detaining aliens and to interfere with the ability of the Bureau of Prisons and the U.S. Marshal Service to manage federal detainees and prisoners. The department sued the state of California to enjoin numerous state laws that attempted to frustrate federal immigration enforcement, Barr said. We prevailed on several of our claims in the lower courts, and we are hopeful that the Supreme Court will grant our request to review the remaining issues and side with us against California's obstructionist policies. He concluded today is a significant escalation in the federal government's efforts to confront the resistance of sanctuary cities. But by no means do the efforts outlined above signify the culmination of our fight to ensure the rule of law, to defend the Constitution, to keep Americans safe. We will consider taking actions against any jurisdiction that or any politician who unlawfully obstructs the federal enforcement of immigration law. Barr's new sanctions come as the Trump administration has already announced their initiatives targeting illegal immigration in the wake of the president's State of the Union address last week. Last week, acting Homeland Security Secretary Chad Wolf exclusively told Fox News Tucker Carlson tonight that the DHS was immediately suspending enrollment in Global Entry and several other Trusted Traveler programs, TTP, for all New York State residents, a dramatic move in response to liberal states recently enacted sanctuary green light law. Barr slammed the law in his speech Monday, calling it unlawful. Customs and Border Protection Assistant Commissioner, Office of Field Operations, Todd Owen, later told Fox News that up to 800,000 New Yorkers could be affected by the rule change within the next 5 years. Owen said people with pending global entry applications would be refunded and that those with active applications would not be affected until their renewal date. Illegal immigrants rushed to New York Department of Motor Vehicles, DMVs, in large numbers after the green light law, which allowed them to obtain driver license or learner permits regardless of their immigration status. Took effect last December. This is happening right under our noses, especially what Rudy Giuliani did for New York City. Look how it's just crumbling. I can't believe this is happening right under our nose. Okay, the law also permitted applicants to use foreign documents, including passports, to be submitted in order to obtain licenses. This is all to get their vote, people. In a letter to top New York State officials obtained exclusively by Fox News, Wolf noted that the New York law prohibited DMV agencies across the state from sharing criminal records with Customs and Border Protection and ICE. In New York alone, last year, ICE arrested 149 child predators, identified or rescued 105 victims of exploitation and human trafficking, arrested 230 gang members, and seized 6,047 pounds of illegal narcotics, including fentanyl and opioids. Wolf wrote to New York officials, in the vast majority of these cases, ICE relied on New York DMV records to fulfill its mission. The green light law, Wolf went on, compromises CBP's ability to confirm whether the individual applying for TTP membership meets program eligibility requirements. This act and the corresponding lack of security cooperation from the New York DMV requires DHS to take immediate action to ensure DHS's efforts to protect the homeland are not compromised, he said. I want to thank Fox News' Jake Gibson for contributing to this report. All right, it's that time to take care of our sponsors. But before you go, stick around because we're going to hear Attorney General Barr speak for himself on this imperative issue in our country. All right, so you fit veterans in the audience, get down and give me 22 everyday push-ups for the veterans that will die of suicide tomorrow.
16th, switch to Sprint and get $100 via prepaid MasterCard. That's right, you'll get $100 when you switch. There's never been a better time to switch. Stop by your local Sprint store during Sizzling Sprint Week now through February 16th to learn more. Requires port online registration and 45 days of service on a new line before card ships. One per account. Card terms, conditions, and exclusions apply. Member FDIC. Restrictions apply.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans, America's largest mortgage lender. Spring will be here soon, so if buying a new home is on your to-do list, right now is the time to call Quicken Loans. Learn about which mortgage options make sense for you and get a jump on your competition. With our exclusive Rate Shield approval, the low rate you lock today is protected for up to 90 days while you shop for your new home. With a Rate Shield approval, if rates go up, your low rate stays locked. But if rates go down, you get that new, even lower rate. Either way, you win. Talk to us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com to take advantage. Here's another great reason to work with us. For a record 9 years in a row, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction for primary mortgage origination. Again, to lock in today's low mortgage interest rate and get the security of our exclusive Rate Shield approval, call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
For J.D. Power award information, visit jdpower.com. Rate Shield approval only valid on certain 30-year fixed-rate loans. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all 50 states. NMLS number 3030.
Thoughts of suicide may feel impossible to overcome. But with help and support, you can find hope in me. Call the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK to speak to a counselor, or visit suicidepreventionlifeline.org. It's free, it's confidential, it's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And even if it feels like it, you're not alone.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover. All for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter 5,000 at checkout. That's harrys.com, code 5,000. Enjoy!
I'm a little teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and pull me out.
This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council. KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Hey Kev, the client needs that document ASAP.
I'm trying, but the internet is so slow. And now it isn't working at all.
Is your internet provider holding your business back? Switch to one who keeps you moving forward. At Cox Business, we know how crucial connectivity is to your business. That's why we give you the peace of mind of around-the-clock network monitoring and 24/7 support. So if your provider isn't setting your business up for success, make the switch to Cox Business today. Get 50 megs of internet for only $74 per month for 6 months with a 3-year agreement. Ends 4/30/20. Restrictions apply. Visit coxbusiness.com for details.
USA Radio News with Wendy King.
In the New Hampshire primary, Senator Bernie Sanders is leading among Democrats in the First of the Nation primary. Former South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete Buttigieg is just behind him in the polls. Meanwhile, Colorado Senator Mike Bennett and entrepreneur Andrew Yang have announced they are suspending their campaigns. Yang said he saw his numbers dropping.
You know, I am the math guy, and it is clear tonight from the numbers that we are not going to win this race.
It's also disappointing for supporters of Joe Biden and Elizabeth Warren, who are not in line to win any delegates in New Hampshire. Warren is not letting up.
2020 is our time to change who makes the rules.
On Wall Street, the Dow is down a fraction, the S&P 500 up 17, and the NASDAQ Composite up 11. This is USA Radio News. Optimism for America's small businesses is continuing to run near all-time highs, as we hear from USA's Chris Barnes.
The National Federation of Independent Business saying its index of small business optimism rebounded from a small dip at the end of last year, rising to 104.3 points in January. It was at 102.7 in December. But that January mark is in the top 10% of all readings in the survey's 46-year history. The latest one showing small business owners expect increased sales, earnings, and higher wages for workers in 2020, though they are still struggling to find qualified workers.
The Justice Department has revised the amount of time it's seeking for former Trump advisor Roger Stone. President Trump called the initial request of 7 to 9 years horrible and unfair. He denied playing any role in the revised sentencing. All 4 of the attorneys involved have resigned in apparent protest. You're listening to USA Radio News. The number of people who've succumbed from the coronavirus in China is now over 1,000. But there's good news for people here in the States. USA Radio Network's Tim Berg has more.
Rear Admiral Dr. Nancy Knight says there's good news for almost 200 Americans no longer under quarantine amid coronavirus concerns.
They don't need any additional follow-up as it relates to novel coronavirus.
Knight was talking about the Americans who were being observed for the last 2 weeks since being evacuated from Wuhan, China, the epicenter of the outbreak.
Gas prices posted a 3-cent decline over the last week for the 4th straight week, with the national average falling to $2.43 per gallon. USA's John Clemens reports.
Patrick DeHaan of GasMoney.com tells us there is a $1.55 price difference between the high and the low average across the country.
The nation's lowest average prices can be found in Texas, where the statewide average is $2.04, followed by Louisiana at $2.06, and Oklahoma State at $2.07 per gallon. The nation's priciest gasoline can be found in Hawaii, where the statewide average is $3.59 per gallon, followed by California at $3.54, and Washington State at $3.10 per gallon.
DeHaan tells us thousands of stations are selling product below $2 per gallon.
Some 10,000 stations across the country are currently selling gasoline under $2 a gallon. That's the highest amount of stations in nearly a year.
I'm John Clemens.
For USA Radio News, I'm Wendy King.
Thanks for being patient during the commercial. Here is Attorney General Barr.
Well, President Trump, in the meantime, following through on his October promise to address issues impacting law enforcement. Listen.
President Trump is an unwavering supporter of our men and women in blue, and he recognized that this commission is much needed to support law enforcement. And it is, to be sure, long overdue. Law enforcement faces more and greater challenges than ever before.
Well, Attorney General Barr officially launching the Presidential Commission on Law Enforcement and the Administration of Justice. Here to weigh in on the biggest issues the DOJ should be addressing, former NYPD officer Dr. Darren Porcher, retired NYPD Deputy Inspector Dr. Andrew Costello, and Blue Lives Matter NYC founder Joseph Imperatrice. Thank you all for joining us. We appreciate it. So let's just begin there. What issues should the DOJ be addressing? And I'll begin with you, Dr. Porcher.
One of the first things is technological innovations. This is something that's paramount when we look at law enforcement, because we look at the paramount with the parity with the civilian population, police, such as cell phones and things to that effect. So it's necessary that the police departments have the necessary resources in connection with matching up with the crimes that are being committed. On the cyber network, this is going at an optimum level. Therefore, law enforcement needs to stay abreast to the current codes and techniques that are being used.
Definitely important. Dr. Costello?
I would agree with Attorney General Barr hit it right on the head with bringing a training campaign for these types of cyber crimes and identity theft-related issues. Your current issues right now, most law enforcement agencies are prepared to deal with them, as well as prosecutors are able to handle them. I mean, we can take a look at identity theft. You're talking about a crime that can be committed technically in 3 separate jurisdictions. No one wants to own the jurisdiction.
Right, yeah.
But for example, you could live in Manhattan. The crime could occur at a server outside the country. The proceeds of the stolen items or whatever could be delivered to another place in another state. No one seems to want to take ownership of this.
That makes sense.
Well, we have a simple solution. You just have it that wherever the victim lives, that's the jurisdiction that should be taking care of it.
Joe?
E.G. Barr, President Trump, and Vice President Pence have been huge supporters since day one. They've always looked to try to enhance the quality of life of officers. One, nationwide, no matter New York City or California, is morale. Second is the 228, the uptick of suicide in policing. And third is no one wants to be the next Officer Darren Wilson or Officer Daniel Pantaleo for doing their job. They want to go out there, not be afraid when they put handcuffs on that they're going to go on the other side of the law. And they just want to enjoy and just help the public. They don't have to worry about being the next headline.
Right. Yeah, and speaking of that, since you brought it up, we can take a look at this. More officers died from suicide than in the line of duty last year. Look at the numbers, 228 suicides, 134 died in the line of duty. And then I want to bring this up as well, because you were referencing this, the trust in police. It is at a low point. 29% of Americans have a great deal of confidence in the police. So, Joe, I'll start with you on that and then bring it back up. What are your thoughts? How do we change those numbers?
No matter what you do, there's always going to be pushback. My grandfather always said, if you want to be loved, be a fireman, because it's never going to happen as a police officer. And there's always going to be pushback. Whenever there is authority or someone have to go out there taking away someone's rights, that's the biggest, I guess, superpower that police officers have is the ability to make an arrest and take somebody off the street and take away their freedoms. And it's a big deal. And no matter what, people are always going to go against the grain when that happens.
Dr. Costello?
The times have changed. We need police agencies to disseminate information out more immediately, even if it's imperfect or not necessarily completely accurate. I'm not saying to put out false situations, but these agencies need to react faster, push information out early, and more importantly, react to information that is disingenuous, meaning it's technically accurate, but it leads to wrong conclusions.
Yeah, not be afraid of reacting as well, and more engagement in the communities.
Absolutely. It needs to be a police and community partnership. Both entities need to understand that they need to coexist as one. And when the community understands that they're a part of the police mission, I think that makes for a more fluid situation. And that's the focus when we look at having that relationship between police and community moving forward.
Well, we do know this is a promise that President Trump is keeping from the very beginning. He's been very pro-law enforcement, pro-first responders. So we'll see where it goes from here. Thank you all for joining us, and thank you for your service. As always, great to have you back.
That's it for tonight's show. Make sure you share it with your patriotic friends. And until all the troops come home, God bless America. All right, fall out. Pop Smoke out.